depends on where you find that they look like the same.
Not necessarily tribal or regional.
But I have said that.
All right, thank you for staying with us. It's Daybreak on Trust TV. Now, let's take a look at the front pages of our newspapers this morning, beginning with the Daily Trust newspaper, where you have the lead story that has a kicker there, and it says, race for Senate leaders. APC's Bamidele in pole position as Tambuwal Aleru battle in PDP. It has the riders that says Northern senators insist on producing House leader. Wike plots against ex-Sokoto governor. We will resist imposition by ruling party. Opposition party says. We also have all the details on page 4. Then above the lead story there, you'd see a comment, an excerpt actually from the Daily Trust editorial talking about the Sokoto blasphemy killing. It says, we cannot continue like this. You'd find all the details on page 13. Then below the lead story, you have baby found alive on mom's back 24 hours after bandits shot her dead. Quite a pathetic story. You see that story on page 16. Then FAC disbursements to hit record 1 trillion naira following FX unification. That's on page 18. Presidency, LP, Bika over EU's report on 2023 elections on page 10. You have below the pictorial there, military pencils down over 50 names for promotion as generals bow out today. The pictorial there shows you Sunni Muslims torch Sweden's flag in Karachi, Pakistan yesterday during a demonstration against the burning of Quran outside a Stockholm mosque that outraged Muslims around the world. Also below that, you have, at a footnote, you have fiscal collapse would have brought more hardship than subsidy removal, Professor Ojo. And then also, Zenith retains Nigeria's #1 bank for 14 years. Nigerian pilgrims' death toll hits 13 as 41,632 fall sick in Saudi Arabia. These are the main stories on the Daily Trust cover page today.
Now let's take a look at the Vanguard newspaper. It has a banner headline that says, March to Nigeria's economic recovery. And beneath that, we have revealed Tinubu's move against terrorism. And the first rider says comprehensive onslaught against terrorists and bandits begin. Security architecture set for review. Rules of engagement to be determined by the nature of the security threat. These are some of the riders supporting the story. And then we also have fuel subsidy removal, forex reforms, investors raking 5.3 trillion in H123. And then beneath that, we have highest gain in 15 years. Gains attributed to policy changes, corporate earnings. We also have, but analysts warn of debt policy shocks. Beneath that, ministerial nominees Osumbo, Ambassador Musa Mohammed may make list. We also have 10th Senate, opposition to Tambuwal's minority leadership bid swells. And above that, we have Presidency rejects EU's report on 2023 general elections. We also have anxiety as federal government resumes work on Lagos-Ibadan expressway today. 9 illegal refineries with 1 million per barrel production capacity uncovered in Bayelsa. And on the sports end, we have Mbappe wants 206 million euro to join any club. These are the major stories on the Vanguard newspaper for today.
Now, on the Punch newspaper, the lead story there says, governors battle cash crunch. Delta, Imo, Cross River, Oyo lead as states borrow 130 billion naira in 3 months. You have 17 shortfall hits states, internally generated revenue, debt rise to 5.5 trillion naira. Now, above the masthead, opposition attacks FG as presidency lambasts EU poll observers. You have NLC to meet Tinubu on 65-year retirement age. NNPCL, marketers fuel vessels arrive next week, and then that's on according to Ipman. You have also below the pictorial UTME top performer manipulated score faces prosecution. That's according to JAM. Khan mourns as kidnappers kill RCCG pastor, 7 churchgoers rescued. They also have Zenith Bank leads Nigerian lenders in new global ranking. So these are the main stories on the Punch this morning.
Over now to the Nation newspaper. It has a lead story that says investors 4.35 trillion naira gain in 1 month boost economy. And then the writer says Tinubu, bull as in with a capital B, rallies Nigeria to world's top 3. Stock market hits 15-year high. Beneath that, we have Ndume Bamidele bidding for Senate leader's post. Presidency rejects EU's 2023 poll report. And then the writer, LP Oke's verdict. Above the masthead, we have death toll of Nigerian pilgrims rises to 13. Banks collected 8.9 trillion naira deposits in 12 months. And we also have, this is on the entertainment scene, we have actor Olu Jacobs is not there 80% of the time. This is according to his wife, Joker Silva. Still on the Nation newspaper, we have rioters raid home of French mayor. Chinese naval ships in Nigeria. We also have 2 dead in U.S. mass shooting. These are the major stories on the Nation newspaper.
All right. Now, looking at the Guardian newspaper this morning, you'd find the major story boldly written there, talking about the pump price hike. It says, households consider solar alternatives amid high onboarding cost. You also have above that, CPPE seeks end to highly volatile FX market as dollar trades between 461 461 841 naira at the I&E. Now you also have AFDB OK's $115 million loan for Abia to rehabilitate roads, manage erosion, solid waste. You also have presidency rejects jaundiced EU conclusion on 2023 elections. PDP NWC meets senators today over minority leadership, alleged APC's interference. Published spending of 400 billion naira fuel subsidy savings, Serap task Tinubu. You have imperative of UTME fees, result validity review also. Well, these are the main stories on The Guardian this morning.
Now let's take a look at the Daily Sun. The Daily Sun has a lead story that says presidential election, Tinubu APC INEC fight back at tribunal today. The writer opened the fence on Obi, LP, Atiku, PDP petitions. And beneath that, we have presidency rejects EU report on 2023 poll. PDP NWC meets senators over minority leadership. And we also have Peace Committee should present post-2023 election report, group demands. Senate awaits Tinubu's ministerial list. This is beneath the pictorial there. And then we also have, I'm not under pressure on choice of commissioners. This is according to Oborewori, the Delta State governor. And just beneath the masthead, we have The Sun establishes Media Development Foundation. These are the major stories on The Sun newspaper for today.
All right, now let's take a look at This Day newspaper this morning. The lead story there says, Federal government, we reject EU's 2023 elections observation report on Nigeria. You also have above the masthead, Zenith retains top spot as Nigeria's #1 bank by Tier 1 capital for 14 straight years. Also, Koas Lagbaja urges Nigerians to pray for the nation and the military. These are the main stories on this day newspaper. Now let's get some perspective to some of the stories that we have on the front pages this morning. We have in the studio Dr. Larry Oluwaniyi, a public affairs analyst, to review some of the stories here with us. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us on Daybreak as always.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
You're welcome. All right, well, let's begin with the back and forth. The federal government's response to the EU report on the 2023 general elections. The EU, as an international observer, has compiled its report arising from the 2023 general elections and is concerned about the trust deficit that trailed the outcome of that result from members of the public, basically on the issue of INEC's inability to upload the results from the polling unit as it promised. And that generated a lot of really concerns. People raised, if you listen to members of the opposition, they said, well, the inability of INEC to upload those results kind of, erode the trust, that people had on INEC to deliver a free, fair, and transparent election. What do you make of FG's response?
Yeah, thank you very much. We have, we have been discussing about this for quite some times now. I think from March. Like I always said, every observer have a right to their own report. Because I'm also an observer on that election day. And I'm happy to lead the coalition of observer group in Nigeria, and we gave our own report as well. And I like that point, trust deficit, because what everybody anchor is that you promise us that you are going to upload the result real time to your HiRef portal, and which you are unable to do on presidential election particularly. And I'm privileged to listen to the spokesperson of INEC, the person of Barrister Festus Okoye, recently, and he has break it down to some extent how they are unable to do it, and he doesn't want to go far on it, but is able to let us know the work of BVAS. Like I always said, BVAS will not as you are voting, is not going to upload immediately. There is still a form of manual processing along the line that people don't understand. That is the reason why he said a very powerful point. He said that is the reason why they asked all the political party to produce their party agent. When you produce your party agent and in all the polling units, you have access to original results from the grassroots. So you have access to go and collect your own result in your own portal. So that if anything INEC is doing contrarily, you can be able to have a substantial evidence to prove against INEC. Nobody is talking about that. Everybody just want to cast a blame on INEC. What about the political party? Are they able to fulfill the constitutional provision given to them?
But Doctor, the issue is about the report. The EU was an observer in that election. Now, like you said earlier, everybody is entitled to whatever they must have observed. Now they witnessed the election. This is their report. There are lots of persons that are saying that what the government is expected to do is to take it and say, okay, thank you for this report. We'll look into what you have said. And if there are areas where amendments can be done, it will be done. So a lot of people are saying maybe there's really no need for this forth and back because it's a report by an observer. In any case, this government shouldn't. Some persons are saying this government shouldn't even be defending it. They didn't conduct this election. The election was conducted by another government. So what a lot of people are saying is that they are supposed to take this report in good faith and look at areas where amendments can be done. If
you can't totally blame them. Governance is continual. It's the same APC government that conducted the elections and the same APC government that is in power. So government is not about individual. Government is FG. Federal government, no matter who is there, the INEC is an institution. So they have the responsibility to give a report because they know that the report from the international community carry weight. That's the truth. I believe that is the reason why you will see during the time of Lai Mohammed, immediately there is a report from BBC from here, they quickly went into their own press conference and debunked it. That's not the issue. Our election is not perfect. That's the reality we must tell ourselves.
Yeah, but
that's
that's not what the federal government said. The statement by the presidency says that the 2023 election is the best election ever conducted in Nigeria since 1999.
You know, when you say since 1999, I can a little bit agree with them to some extent. That's the truth. Because one thing about us is that we don't like to tell our own story. We want the white man to write our story for us. And I will not sit down here and I will be following the queue on because
but you just said immediately that when reports come from the white man, we should respond.
That is the FG that did that. I don't do that. I don't give too much attention on that because they have their own flaws as well. Their own election too is not perfect. They are not Messiah. They are not saints anywhere. So that's FG concern. As far as me concerned, what I believe is what I believe in my own indigenous way and perspective. I see things in my own country. What do I see? The election is not perfect, but you cannot compare this election with 2007 election.
Yeah, but
you cannot compare this election with 2015 election. You ask me why? The answer is simply simple. Everybody can see, the candidate can see clearly that people voted according to the campaign that have been going on for 6 months before the election.
Okay, Doctor, we had a live studio here during that election. We know the calls that were coming in. We have our reporters on ground all over the country monitoring these elections as well. So we are not just relying on whether the EU's report or not.
Yeah, that's good.
Now, some of the things that happened is that we have observed there have been a consistent decline in, say, for instance, voter participation. That's voter apathy, in the sense that you have a continuous decline from 1999 till date. And where you have a voters register that carries 92 million voters, for instance, and you have a turnout of around 25, 26 million voters, do you really think that that's a flawless process? I mean, given the fact that we have tons of people in their thousands who were disenfranchised as a result of INEC's inability to deploy materials in locations, even right here in the nation's capital.
Now, thank you very much. You know, we have 93 registered voters, 93 million registered voters. We have 83 million PVC collected. We have about 25 million, 26 million voting capacity on that day. Fine. You can't force people to go and collect their PVC due to their own reason. And you cannot force people to go and vote. It's only people that turn on to voting or subject themselves to redundant that we are going to talk about. It's not, I can say that can also deal to way of governance in Nigeria.
We are talking about those that showed up. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now, some that have showed up that were disenfranchised, I have a lot of issues on them. You know why? On that particular day, some of them, their polling unit has changed. And there is a text message previously sent to all of them before the election day, which I'm a witness to that. And there are also emails sent to a lot of them that your PU unit has changed from 001 to 000, just in case you don't know. So some of them get to the polling unit that day, they discover that where they voted last election, their name was not there again. And I have to be asking them, do you have a message on your phone? Someone say, I got the message, I don't even pay attention to it. Would that call that INEC? I'm not defending INEC. I'm not saying INEC is perfect. But we are in a country, this is where I'm going, we are in a country whereby we don't balance concept. We are coming from military background. Because during military era, many things we grew up to know is activism. Always speak against government. We are not looking at the way that we citizens, are we growing? Are we trying to learn?
Okay, well,
Doctor,
that's where I'm going. I'm not saying INEC is perfect.
Doctor, this our democracy, the current democracy is about 24 years old, so we can't really be talking about the military. In any case, a lot of people that voted now, some of them, didn't even know about the military era. Some of them 21, 22, 23, they didn't know. Now the thing is this, a point has been made. There was a decline in voter turnout. That point has been made. And a lot of experts said that one of the reasons is due to lack of trust in INEC. Now, this is one of the things the EU report has talked about. So isn't it time we started looking at it as a problem that should be addressed instead of saying, oh, EU, you're wrong and all of that? Because maybe EU is wrong, but the fact is there was a drop in voter turnout.
Definitely.
So isn't that an issue to be looked into?
We cannot give.
And if they are saying that one of the reasons is lack of trust in the umpire,
system.
isn't that a system to be looked into?
See, I'm not giving INEC 100% pass mark. That's the truth. And I'm not giving them maybe 90%. I'm giving them something around 75. And I know I have my reason because I'm on ground. And I'm also an election observer. What I'm trying to say is that we are able to see, we are just testing these beavers in a general election for the first time.
Doctor, you know, in the statement that the presidency released, they sort of pick and choose which feedback to take. Because, okay, they talked about the ECOWAS report, they talk about the NBA, they talk about the AU's own report, and they said that based on the report by these bodies, INEC has done remarkably well, and that the election was okay as it is. But then the point that we are saying is that in moving forward, why do we invite international observers to come for our elections? And why do we give them the opportunity to observe the elections? What's the essence?
It's an international law.
What is the essence?
It's an international law.
No, but what's the essence? Is it just for them to just come and
But when
watch?
you don't like the report, what do you do?
Is it for them to just come and watch and just go without giving any
you
feedback?
know, they give a feedback, and we are very appreciative
So,
of their
and the feedback, must it always be as you want it? Or
No, it may not definitely be as we want it. That's the truth of the matter. But we must always also guide our own sovereignty and narratives outside there. That's the truth. We have seen a lot of guys in Sierra Leone right now. They're about to come back. A lot of our domestic observers, they're also out there. And they will give their report to that country as well on Sierra Leone election. But that does not mean Sierra Leone will lose guard and be so carried away. You know why? I'm not against EU report. If federal government is against it, that is at their own detriment. What they need to do is to look at the lapses, what they have complained about,
because this is more like being a judge in your own case. It can be described as that you know, you play a game and you be the referee of your own, you know, of the game by your own self.
Yes, but they are just there. Let me tell you one thing Observer did. The Observer is just there to give a check and balance it to the electoral process. That's the real fact of what the concept of Observer.
But should you be open to accept this check and balance when it
Yeah, that is it. Because I believe INEC will go through all the reports. That's the truth. INEC will always do that. They will go through all the reports. They will correct themselves in the next coming election. And let's hope, let's keep, I'm not saying you should not criticize them. I'm not saying you should not talk about them. But it's good for the betterment of our democracy. That is why we call it democracy. But for you to expect a perfect election, we know there is no perfect election anywhere in the world.
All right. Well, we have a number of other stories here. Let's take a look at another story, and this is about the JAMB score, the fabrication of JAMB score. I believe that you've seen that story, where a young lady decided to, you know, change her JAMB scores and then eventually emerge as the top scorer in, you know, JAMB examination, leading to even her gaining scholarship and all that, only for the authorities to realize later that, look, it was false, it was fake, you know, and all that. What's your comment on that?
Madam, the system is not yet, you know, they are going, they are virtually on technology right now. Do their exam through CBT center and other stuff. And that will tell you how our people is. They find a way around anything.
The girl in question is 16 though.
It doesn't matter because Nigeria is wiser than their age. in terms of I don't.
Shouldn't we be worried as a society?
I don't want to be rude here.
Shouldn't we be worried as a society that a 60-year-old girl will think of something like that?
We need to be worried. It's a question. We need to be worried. I was discussing with one of my friends in abroad one day. I say Nigeria is smart. Nigeria has this, and he caught my attention. They come on, don't say that, doctor. I said why? He say we are not smart. We are only operating beyond our age bracket. I said how? And he explained to me how can a 16-year-old boy or lady to be looking for money to pay for his or her school fees. It's supposed to be under a parenting guidance. But now you see 16, 17 going around trying to live for means of livelihood for him or herself. And we say it's madness. We have grown beyond our normal society.
You know, we're not able to confirm that she did it because she was looking for money to sponsor herself. And even if she's looking for money to sponsor herself, I want to believe there are other ways that could have happened. So what we see in the story is purely criminal.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm just diverting to that extent. It's not only her. We are looking at the society, at the people that are perpetrating evil at that younger age. Those are the guys that are doing illegal on this internet fraud. Are they not young guys? They're young guys. Are you getting it? What I'm saying is that that is society decay. We don't have a values. Our value system has dropped. And we keep saying this. Our value system has dropped. No moral any longer. We don't have a good society. That is why we can able to produce such. What he just did is just like is a fraud. It's not just like it's a fraud, and it can also lead to higher fraud. More than that. So who are the people that are perpetrating internet fraud that you all know as Yahoo Yahoo? Are they not young? Are they not teenagers and young people?
Now we have Yahoo Plus, actually.
Yeah, so that's what I'm telling you, that the society has lost it. That's the truth. There is no any way about it. We have lost it. We have lost our ethical values. The family system has reduced their content because of lack of money. I must tell you the truth. The lack of economical growth has affected our family system. Okay. Father is not at home to take care of the children the way they should do.
All right.
Looking for money to survive. And the teenager is forced to go and do one or join all manner of association. Okay. And that's the result of what we're going to get. All
right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Larry Oluwani, Public Affairs Analyst, for joining us on the Daybreak this morning. I almost said Africa Update, but thank you so much for joining. We look forward to having you here.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, we'll take a short break now, and then when we return, Daybreak will continue. Join us again.
But in a situation where you find that they must look at the same,
not necessarily tribal or regional.
I have said that